John Cox is CEO of Safety Operating Systems and an aviation security expert. Thanks for joining us, John.
My pleasure. It's nice to be here. Thank you.
Now, when it comes to the Germanwings Airbus crash, there's been a lot of interest in the cockpit door. Can you describe what the security mechanism is in that cockpit door?
Well, the cockpit door of all commercial airliners was hardened as a result of the events of 9/11. So this is a hardened door that is explosion resistant, bulletproof. It has strong locking mechanisms in it. So this is a door that's designed to protect the pilots and make sure that they remain in control of the airplane at all times. There are multiple modes of operation on the door. On the ground, there's an unlock feature which allows the door to be opened and closed at will. In flight, it's what is called a normal mode, and that permits a code in the back on a keypad to unlock the door. And then there is an override feature that prevents the door from being unlocked or open for any reason.
Can you describe that override function just a little more? What is the form of that? Is it a button that the pilot presses?
On most of the doors, there's a rotating switch from unlock to norm to override, and so that you can select the mode with this rotary switch to whichever mode is appropriate for the circumstance.
Do you think a camera in the cockpit would have made a difference in this situation?
I don't believe a camera in this case would have made any difference at all. It appears that this first officer willfully, with malice and forethought, planned this event and executed it, and I don't believe that a camera in the flight deck would have made one bit of difference.
What do you think would make a difference?
I think it's possible that if there was a flight attendant in the flight deck, as there are in some of the U.S. and other North American airlines, it would have reduced the possibility. And if the first officer was refusing to open the door, there's somebody else that could have opened the door. So I think it would have decreased the likelihood of this event occurring in the way that it did.
Is there anything that you can say that helps people understand how this can happen?
Well, I mean, pilots are part of humanity, and unfortunately, we have a very small percentage of people who do very unplanned things and can create great harm to a number of people. In the past and currently, pilots are heavily screened, they're very heavily trained, they're evaluated constantly, both by specially trained instructors and check airmen, but also by their peers. There's a lot of peer evaluation that goes on. It's important to realize that in last year alone, we flew approximately 40 million flights safely, and we've been doing that year in, year out for decades. We've had 3 or 4 of these very tragic events, but as a safety professional, you learn very quickly to make sure you're not mitigating, that you're not adding more risk than you're mitigating. And that's something we need to be very aware of here. Let's go slowly, let's put the experts together, and then we'll look at whatever changes need to be made.
Thank you so much, John Cox, for joining us today.
My pleasure, Hannah.